Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SavvyCast. This is Jamie, and I'm so excited that you're here today, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast. Okay, guys, a repeat fan favorite is here today.
Oh.
My dear, dear friend and the best cook that I know, Marie Marino. Marie, I love seeing your pretty little face on the
You're so
screen.
sweet. Thank you so much for having me. It's always fun being here.
Well, you are precious. And I hope those of you who are listening on the podcast will jump on the YouTube to see how beautiful and radiant Marie is. She's just one of my favorite people on the planet. And just a little short little intro of Marie. For those of you who may not, she's been on the podcast. Marie, is this your fourth time?
I think so.
Yeah,
It
we
is.
did Cooking for Loved Ones, how to prepare
Yes.
and deliver meals
Yes.
to loved ones. That is a
Mhm.
fabulous one. And then we've done how to do the perfect charcuterie. You gave a
Yes.
list of everything to buy for probably the best charcuterie I've ever had. So you've given us that, a punch list for that. Then we did, oh my goodness, because
We
we
did a
talk so
fun
much, it
one.
all blends together.
I know. And we did a fun one, I think, about because we love talking about our Enneagram. So we did a fun
Oh,
one. I think
yes.
that was probably the first one that we did, which was fun.
Yes, we did that with Jordan, the Enneagram coach. So anyway,
Yes.
guys, if you have time, scroll back through and listen to the others I've done with Marie. But since Marie's been on, we're going to skip the icebreaker question about last meal, and we're going to dive into 4 of Marie's recipes that are suited for summer. And guys, here in Alabama, we've got many, many, many more weeks of hot, hot, hot.
Yes.
The rest of you, I know people are all over, but you're going to love these recipes. And at the outset, I want to say all 4 recipes are on Marie's blog, which you must check out, subscribe, mariemarino.com. Everything will be in the show notes. So if you're driving, don't feel like you've got to stop, because show notes will have everything and it will direct you to all of these recipes. But Marie, I'm so excited because I know I know myself, I will end up making every one of these within the next week or two, because I get my mouth just waters talking about food. But anyway, tell everybody the 4 and then just dig in and start sharing.
Yes. Okay. First, I'll just say, when you and I were kind of talking about just what all we would be chatting about on the podcast today, I started thinking about, okay, summer food and just kind of the vibe that summer brings with it, or warm weather. And we think about how we are a lot more relaxed. We are spending more time with family and friends, maybe vacationing, going to the lake or the beach or the mountains. And when I think about that, when I consider like my meal prep or my menus for serving food, I think that type of food is defined for me by 3 things. And the first thing is, I want it to be simple, fairly simple to prepare. I don't want to get into a lot of intricacies and spending a lot of time in front of a stove. That's not what I want to be doing in the summer.
Right.
I also think about lighter flavors in the summer. And then definitely it has to be crowd pleasing, because even though, you know what, I'm an empty nester, as I know you are as well, but there's always people at my house or the lake house. It's either my kids' friends, family. So anything I'm going to put the effort into needs to be pleasing to a lot of different people. So the things that I thought about sharing with y'all today, I thought about maybe a few options that are a little bit different for warm weather food. So I'm going to talk about a tuna pasta salad, tuna stuffed shells, and then also a dip, which is a creamy avocado lime dip.
Mm.
and then also a spicy beef lettuce wrap, which is a one skillet, one and done meal that's just, it's fabulous. And it's healthy too. So
Okay. And
filling,
guys,
so.
I'm just going to tell y'all because Marie, she's very modest. You won't find these. I mean, I know these are not out there. These are she's Italian from a long line of fabulous Southern Italian, correct?
Yes,
And
yes.
y'all, her food, nothing is ever like anything you've tasted before. It's always comforting, delicious, and fabulous. But I'm always like, okay, please tell me how to make this. It's not like, growing up, I went to potlucks like literally every week. There's the poppy seed chicken, there's the brown
Oh
rice,
yeah.
and
Oh
and you
yeah.
knew exactly how to make it. These recipes are unique. So you're gonna want to go to mariemarino.com. But what Marie's going to do is give us those tips and nuances that will help us make these recipes like she does. And I'm so excited. And which one are we going to start with? The tuna pasta salad? Because I can say
Yes.
I had it. I love it. My family's had it. Everyone loves it. And I'm so
Yes.
glad it's on your blog because how many
Well,
times
you've been,
have I texted you?
well, no, it's
I know
cracking me
you're
up
like,
because,
can you not keep up with anything?
well, no, and really probably the only reason why, and I appreciate all the kind words about my cooking. I do have to have a disclaimer. When I got married 30 years ago, I literally could not boil water. And if you had told me at that time that people would be eating my food, family and friends would be asking for recipes, I think I would have had to laugh you out of the room because I could not do anything. But just had a great mother-in-law and just almost like trial and error. I think that one of the reasons why it probably took me a bit to commit to putting some things up on a website is so many of these recipes, I just kind of didn't have a real recipe.
Right.
So I was afraid if I tried to actually put it out there, it wouldn't turn out right for other people trying. But so it did take me a while to nail down the tuna pasta salad recipe because I was just kind of throwing stuff in a bowl. However, I think I've got it right now, though. I think I've given the right proportion. And really the good thing about a lot of these recipes is there is a lot of room for your own taste adjustments, if you will. You may like something that's a little bit more lemony or a little bit, more creamy or whatever, so you can adjust them. So the actual ingredients that I have listed in particular for the tuna pasta salad, you can definitely adjust. Just a few things to say about that tuna pasta salad, or my family calls it TPS. And I can just say, if we are at the lake or if we are on a weekend trip, it's like, what day are we having TPS? We have to have TPS.
It's so good.
Well,
and can I say this without it sound, but I want people to know, if you look at the recipe, you don't know how good it's going to be. And I am not, and I know you're not either. I am not a fan of mayo. There is mayo. No. Let me tell you, you have to just trust it works. This recipe, if y'all don't write it down, or if you don't get it, you are missing out in life. It's out of this world. I mean, it's so good. So tell us about TPS.
Okay, I'll tell you about how I do that. And it is very fresh and light tasting. It does not taste mayonnaise-y. There is mayonnaise in it, but it is offset by a good amount of olive oil, of lemon, lemon juice. There's a little splash of red wine vinegar in it. And to me, it is the taste of summer in a salad.
Yes, it is.
Now, you and I have talked about this many times about starting with the right ingredients. And I definitely start with it. It does use tuna. It's not fresh tuna. It does use tuna from a can or a jar. And I always use Tonino tuna. It is jar packed.
Mhm.
Or should I say, it's in a glass jar. It's packed in olive oil, and they actually have different flavors now. I've only
Mhm.
tried the lemon pepper version, not in this salad, but just in general. It's delicious. It can be pricey. I will go look at Publix, and if they're having a sale, I'll buy a bunch of jars.
Yeah.
But that is typically the tuna that I use in this. Now, you've said you've had some good luck with the Whole Foods brand as well. Or
I'm going to echo what you say. I've never had tuna from a jar or can like Tonino, and it's the best in my opinion, like yours. But if I need more than 2 or 3 jars, which your recipe, if we use just Tonino, is it 2 jars?
it is, and let me make the disclaimer as well. You can half this recipe. I start with a pound of pasta and 2 jars of the Tonino tuna. You can
Mhm.
absolutely half it. I'm usually making it for a big crowd.
Right, right.
So you can actually make this with a half, 8 ounces of pasta and 1 jar. But go ahead with what you were
Well,
saying about.
if I usually make it the way you do because it keeps so beautifully. Zane takes it to
Mhm.
lunch or we just have people over. But I have used, and I think it just happened because I just had 1 jar of Tonino and I had 1 can of Wild Planet,
Mhm.
which is a sustainably caught. It's a very good approved, for lack of a better word, Bobby approved or whoever approved tuna. Now it is packed in water,
Mhm.
whereas the Tonino, and there you can get it packed in water,
Yeah,
but we get it in the
absolutely.
oil.
I do.
And I've combined those two, and it's almost like you've got a whiter, lighter tuna with the Tonino, and it's a good
Yeah.
blend. So
Yeah.
it won't hurt
Yeah.
to mix, but I will say the Tonino is next level.
It's very good, and it doesn't taste fishy.
No,
So
it
if you
doesn't.
think you don't like tuna or tuna salad, definitely give it that a try, because
Mhm.
it's haven't you described it as it tastes like chicken?
But it
I mean,
doesn't even, Marie, I
it's
don't even
good.
know how to describe it. Just tastes like
It's
a
not fishy.
clean,
Mhm.
a
It's
clean
good.
fillet of tuna that
Right.
doesn't taste fishy. I mean, it is so good. And the Wild Planet is very, I would say the difference in those two, the Wild Planet is almost like white meat chicken.
Okay.
And the Tonino is more, it's a richer, little
Mhm.
browner,
Yeah.
and it's got a lot more flavor. So,
Mhm.
but anyway, so you've got your tuna.
Yes, yes. So typically I start with, and I would say this across the board with any pasta salad that I make, and it is I make the pasta first.
Mhm.
Sometimes I make that pasta the night before. Like maybe I'm cleaning up the kitchen from dinner and I know I'm making TPS the next day. I will cook my pasta the night before, rinse it really well in cold water, and drizzle it with olive oil and some kosher salt, and put it in a Ziploc bag where it's waiting for me to then put the ingredients with the rest of the tuna pasta salad, because you don't want to, you don't want to be putting warm
Yeah.
warm pasta in a pasta
Uh,
salad.
yeah.
So I do kind of plan ahead. If I'm going to make it for lunch, I may wake up first thing in the morning and make that pasta, get it
Okay.
cooled down, put it in the fridge with some olive oil and salt, and have it waiting for me.
Okay.
The other ingredients in there are, you've got cubed sharp cheddar cheese,
Mm,
got either a sweet onion or a red onion, a red bell pepper. I put a little jalapeno in there. And then the seasonings are, it has a little bit of mayo, but it's offset with an equal amount or more even of a good light tasting olive oil, a good dousing of lemon juice. It's got some oregano, a little cayenne in there. And when you mix it up, it's not white like a
mm,
mayonnaise salad. It's
no,
more of it. It looks like a vinaigrette.
a
It really
vinaigrette.
does.
And
And,
Marie,
and they're just, go ahead.
could you just throw out, because I know there are going to be people wondering this. There are many EVOOs, but not all of them are light. Do you lean toward
Correct.
the Sicilian EVOO from Trader Joe's, or what light? Because this is a very light salad, and it does
It
not
is.
have the EVOO, that peppery, the
It
dark.
does not.
So
And
which,
I'm so glad you asked that, because for this salad and other salads that I really want the flavor of what is in that salad to shine, I literally use the extra light tasting olive oil from either, Bertolli or any of those brands that make it
okay.
very almost clear. It's a neutral taste. Because you're right, you don't want and I'm just now kind of getting into different flavors of olive oil. And it's like wine. There's so many different flavors out there.
Could you use avocado?
I don't know why you couldn't. Avocado oil.
But what you're
Just
saying
something,
is light.
that doesn't have a taste to it. And I would do olive oil. I don't really cook or eat with canola oil or anything like that. But an extra light olive oil that you can pick up at your grocery store is what I typically use. And really in a lot of my salads, just because I want to taste the salad and not the olive oil. And also, if it's a wonderful tasting olive oil, I may want to just have that with some salt and pepper and Parmesan and dip bread in it. I want to taste that olive oil if I'm going to invest that money in it.
Yeah.
And so anyways, that's what I do. I use an extra light tasting olive oil that you can get pretty much anywhere. Then, so you mixed it up. I usually sprinkle some cilantro. You do not have to do this. Me and my husband, EJ, argue about the use of cilantro. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, he's like, why are you ruining my salad with that? But if you like cilantro, it works so fabulously on top of this. I'll sprinkle maybe even an additional bit of cayenne pepper. And
or chives.
Chives. It's just delicious. Now, if I have some left over, which if I've got a big crowd, I won't. But if I have some left over, or say I want to take this dish, this is one of the things that my brother Joe loved when he was sick and I would take him food. If I'm going to take it to someone, then I will pack it in a container. I will drizzle extra olive oil on top of it. And I will sprinkle a little bit of paprika and go ahead and put the cilantro just a little bit on top. So I would recommend, if you have some left over, to just make sure you drizzle a little bit more olive oil on top, because that pasta will kind of draw all of that into it. So,
and in the fridge, if they keep it in the fridge, it's going to dry up some.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. To me, it's better immediately served or the next day. But hey, my kids will eat it, 2 days, 3 days out. Have you got any of that left over I can take home with me? So
yeah, it's not going to last for most people. And can you, before we move to the next one?
Yes.
You serve it with, and when the first time I had it that you cooked, we were at the lake, you had Zane and me over, and this is what you serve it with. And I'm like, okay, this works. I don't know why. I never in a million years. The Lay's natural potato chips, not the rich.
Simply Lay's. Yeah.
Simply Lay's. Yeah. Simply Lay's. And it just works. Is that just something your family did? Why did you think of that?
They are just I usually do it with some sliced tomatoes and those potato chips.
That's right. Those,
sliced tomatoes and those potato chips. They're just thin, they're crispy, salty. I try to kid myself and say they're so much healthier because they're Simply Lay's, and it's not the baked ones. I'm not fooling with no baked chips.
Yeah,
so if I'm gonna have a chip, just give me a chip. So I like to tell myself they're a little more healthy, but they just do work. They're kind of salty and they're just thin and crispy. Perfect. It's perfect for that.
Okay. Well, everyone, I promise you, I would not lie to you. You are going to love this. Make it, make
I
it, make
hope
it.
so.
And then,
I hope
of
so.
course, when you're on Marie's blog, if there's a place to leave comments, leave it. If not, hop over to Family Savvy and I'll get her the message. But okay. And
I hope you
Marie,
enjoy it.
I'm
Okay, yes.
excited about this because I hop on your blog all the time. I'm usually looking for something specific. I didn't know you had this on your site. I know I'll be making this week probably. I have another new mama to cook for, so I may do
Yes.
this tuna shells. Can you tell us
Yes.
about that?
Tuna-stuffed shells. So I basically started making this recipe when my kids were babies. And, we would do all our little moms play groups. And, you're always trying to find something new and fun and delicious to serve instead of just a plain old salad. So I believe that I found this recipe. I mean, this is a good 20 to 22 years old. I think it was a similar recipe to this was in a Southern Living magazine. I think they actually used fresh tuna. It was a little more involved. They had the walnut oil or whatever. And I looked at that and I thought, no, I'm just going to take some, I'm just going to take some jumbo shells, which you basically just cook your jumbo shells. And again, just like I do with my with the tuna pasta salad, I'll do it a little bit in advance. I might not do it overnight, but just an hour or so before I make it,
To
I'm
let
going to
them
go
cool
ahead
off.
and yes, let them cool off. I also dry these off. I mean, they're pretty big, like the palm of your hand. So maybe not that big, but I do dry them off and just sit them on a parchment lined baking sheet to just to get them ready to stuff. So then I just make up a tuna salad. Again, I use the Tonino tuna and I like it a little bit spicy. It has a little tiny bit of mayo, not much. I like to use some chopped up pepperoncini peppers. I mean, you could pretty much do anything. Obviously, fresh lemon juice, whatever seasonings you like. One note I will make about Tonino tuna though, when I use that, I don't even have to use salt. There is something about the flavor of that tuna that
You're right.
I just don't, you have to be really careful with adding salt. You really don't need it. So, but to just a kind of a slightly spicy tuna salad, then I will fold in a chopped avocado and stir it together. I know it's simple. It is so delicious. I just stuff each pasta shell with a little bit of the tuna salad, sprinkle it with some chives. I also sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese on top right before serving. So good. And you know what? It's one of those little things that, okay, honestly, you could take, your favorite tuna salad that you make. You don't necessarily have to follow my recipe exactly. I definitely recommend doing the avocado.
Oh, I'm doing your recipe. That sounds fabulous.
Just such a creaminess and freshness. And it's so easy, but it looks like you tried so hard. There is something about those little shells and you serve like 2 of them on a plate with some fruit or, a little side salad. You need to go make these.
I'm making these. This is so exciting. So the shells, just to clarify, that we specifically want to get, what's the name of the shell?
They're called jumbo shell. Are you talking about the stuffing shells?
Yes, jumbo.
Yeah, they're called jumbo-sized shells. I mean, they are big.
Okay. So and I do want to ask you one question.
Yes.
Do you think it's okay? I never rinse my pasta. Is there a reason? Because I'm sure your food is always better than mine. So I'm wondering.
That is so not
always
true.
It's just perfect. But I just drizzle it with olive oil and let it sit. But when we're talking these salads, I really do need to rinse it, don't I?
To me.
Okay, because it's not
for regular pasta. If I'm making regular pasta, the only like a hot pasta dish, the only time I would rinse it is if I was draining it, it was sitting too long, and I had to make it not stick. Otherwise, the way to get it to not stick together when it's hot, obviously drizzle it with a little olive oil. But another trick, if you've got like a hot pasta sauce, is just drain that pasta, put that colander back on top of the pot where it's still kind of draining, but you leave the pasta in the colander, and drizzle a little bit of whatever sauce that you're going to be serving. Just drizzle it over there, and that will keep it from not sticking. But in the case of the pasta salads, the reason I rinse it is to get some of that starch off, and I want it to cool down quick. I do cook it in salted water, which somebody may say, well, why did you bother to salt it? You're rinsing it all off. That you could be true, which is why I probably add the salt. But I think it does a bit, but I do add salt back into it if I'm doing a pasta salad. So.
Okay. And as far as storage, you just obviously just store those in the fridge, maybe in a glass container with a lid.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'll be making those. And okay. Now the third one. Well, I think you're saving one of the best for last, but the third one is the
creamy avocado. We're talking about avocados, and I would be remiss if I did not mention this, only because it's just one of those recipes that, again, I think I've just made it up when my kids were young. I was having people over. I had forgotten to go to the grocery store to get this or that, and I just dumped a bunch of stuff in a bowl, had several avocados laying around, dumped the avocados with some lime, sour cream. It's got some Rotel in there, a few tablespoons of salsa, garlic salt, pepper. It's one of those things that you think, well, first of all, it's not beautiful to look at, which I have to say, since I've been doing a website of food, most of the best tasting food does not look good.
That's
I mean,
right.
when you're trying to photograph it. Now, I am only using an iPhone, so maybe that's part, and I'm not a great photographer, but I've noticed that some of the best tasting food doesn't necessarily look that pretty. This is a prime example. It's just kind of globby, but it is the most delicious tasting. It's limey and creamy and avocado-y.
What are the things you serve with it besides, say, chips?
Well, I just eat it with chips. I just eat it with chips.
Do you eat it with only corn or tortilla chips, or any chip?
I do either to me, the blue corn tortilla chips are the best, but I've also done it with scoops and regular ones, just regular tortilla chips.
You want that sturdy corn base.
Yes.
Okay.
And that saltiness, because you've got the creaminess and the citrusy taste. It's good.
And could you put that, if you wanted to, on fish tacos? Well, if this sounds like something I like, I will get.
Now you know what?
Because if it's spoonable, I would be putting that over fish tacos.
Okay, now stop right there, because I am now going to be doing it on tacos. I have only ever done it as a dip.
Marie, it sounds.
But that sounds that sounds
wonderful
delicious.
Avocado crema. You
Yes. Okay, now I'm doing it. Now, see, you're savvy.
No,
you have savviness coming out.
I mean, I would even drizzle that over sheet pan fajitas or something. I mean, those combinations. I mean,
it's good.
Okay. I'll be making that. I mean, I can't wait.
You make that. And one thing that's good about this too, is you can, again, adjust the seasonings so easily. You may want it. You can, if you've got 3 avocados, do 3 avocados, and less sour cream, do 5 or 6. There's so many ways that you can adjust to your, personal taste. But that is a great idea. I'm actually going to be doing this on tacos. I've just been scooping it with chips.
But see, I'm going to use that recipe, and it sounds like you give us a lot of license to adjust based on what we have. That's the kind of thing I can see myself putting on everything, because I'm an avocado maniac. I love lime. I love those fresh. And I just think it just sounds like you could use it for so many things. But
absolutely.
I
And
will
it
be
is
making.
so summery, but you know what? One thing that I find interesting about Mexican flavors and Mexican foods, I don't like heavy foods in the summer, but for some reason I can eat Mexican food all
Every
year
day.
round.
Me
All
too.
year
Me
round.
too.
So delicious.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay. Now, this last one, I didn't know it
Yes.
was on the blog. I am so
Yes.
excited. I think I may make that. I think I may make that tonight or tomorrow. Tell us
Okay.
about this.
Okay. So, all right. And I'm going to get my little notes together for my spicy beef lettuce wraps.
Where
This
did you come up with
recipe,
this?
it is probably a combination. Well, it is. It's not probably, it is. It's a combination of about 3 or 4 recipes that over the past several years, I was just trying to find something a little different in using ground beef than just the regular
Mhm.
tacos
Yeah.
or just, and although I love PF Chang's lettuce wraps, this is not a dupe, nor is it, it
Mhm.
does not have those flavors.
Mhm.
It is an Asian flavoring in that it's got soy sauce in it and it's got a little sriracha. What you basically do, it's a one skillet wonder. And the reason I call it a wonder is it comes together so quickly. You're basically dumping everything into that pan.
Mhm.
It's got shredded carrots that you can again buy already
Yeah.
pre-prepared.
Mhm.
It has a little bit of mushroom in it, chopped mushrooms. You can leave that out. I know my son-in-law's not a favorite.
He didn't like
Mushrooms are not his
mushroom.
favorite, although he does eat them now.
Oh.
And I think this dish may have started it. But
Oh.
it does have some chopped mushrooms. You've got lime, that lime flavor, the soy flavor. It's got garlic. It's got a little ginger. It's just red pepper flakes. It's got just, there's a lot of very savory flavors that just work together to make a delicious, salty, spicy sauce.
And do you serve it like
You serve it, and I just do the little lettuce cups. I get iceberg lettuce. I'll wash, I'll kind of break it in half and, wash it really good. And by the way, this is one of those recipes it's very easy to take to a loved one. You can put the ground beef in one, a nice side of rice in another, the lettuce cups in another little container. It's just easy. You put them together. And this is where it's Asian, but I end up eating it with, I love to drizzle sour cream on it, which is not Asian.
I would
But
be
I do
doing that.
sour cream and cilantro and that yellowbird jalapeno condiment. Fabulous. It's
Okay.
fabulous.
Can I ask you, you said rice. If we're
Yes.
going to use it as like a wrap, do you put
Yes.
rice, then the beef mixture, then like if you want to do sour cream or whatever in that order, or do you mix them?
Actually, I just use rice as a side.
Oh,
I
you
just
do
have
rice
that as
as
a
a
side
side.
dish.
Oh,
Yep.
yes.
And I just
Okay.
take the lettuce and I just put the ground beef in it and squeeze some of that delicious Daisy Light squeezable sour cream, sprinkle some cilantro and some hot sauce, and you're good to go. The reason I do like to serve it with rice is because when it's on a plate and some of that juice is just kind of dripping off and then it gets in the rice. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's
Oh
so
my
good.
goodness. Okay, Marie.
And it's healthy,
I was about
it
to
is.
say, it sounds,
It's
and
healthy.
you could use ground turkey or chicken.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, and how long
Absolutely.
in the fridge, if there are leftovers, a day or two, maybe okay.
Yep. Yep, for sure.
Okay, so let's recap this
Yes.
where but guys, just go to the show notes. But we have got tuna pasta salad, TPS.
TPS.
Tuna stuffed jumbo shells.
Yes.
And then we've got the avocado.
The creamy lime avocado dip.
And then
which we now are going to be using on other things.
Okay.
Thanks to Jamie.
Leave it to me. All I think
love
about
it.
is food. I mean, you would
I
think I would
love
have
it.
other things to maybe think about.
That's
Anyway,
great.
another way to eat something. And then these fabulous wraps. Okay. Marie, you are a gem and you are just
Oh,
so wonderful to share all of this. And I personally want to thank you for starting your blog. It is a treasure. And guys, go to mariemarino.com. And Marie, there is a subscribe, like, because I think I know I did. If there is one, you can subscribe where you
yes.
don't miss a post.
Yes. And I'm still kind of in the beginning stages of learning all of this. So there is a button to subscribe, and I will be kind of starting a newsletter at some point. Just haven't gotten quite to it yet.
And you
I
can
will.
also print the recipes in their
Yes.
print button.
Yes.
That's huge. So being
Yes.
able to print those out. Marie, okay. And then next, I'm having you on soon and we're going to talk. We're going to move into fall. So you be getting your little recipes
I love
together.
it.
And oh, I can't wait. Okay.
I will.
I just want to thank you. I want to thank everyone who watched or listened. And until next time, you have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thank you. Love you, Jamie.
Love you. Hi, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the SavvyCast. If you'll take the time to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, that would mean so much. As always, thank you for listening and have a blessed day.